Oh, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Let's talk football episode number 12. We're reacting to this week's football games, week 17. Probably the most boring Sunday we have experienced the entire season because there's a doubleheader on Christmas. The Bears Seahawks tried to play whatever the hell they think football is called on Thursday. There were a couple of Saturday games, a few Saturday games. And today there were like 2 4 o'clock games. The Dolphins, Browns. I don't think anybody on planet Earth watched that game except if you're a fan of those teams. Apologies in advance. But the main game of the week was the Green Bay Packers versus the Minnesota Vikings. I just posted a recap on that. But folks, welcome back to Let's Talk Football over here on Will Upton. Hit that like button. It goes a very long way on YouTube. Thank you guys so much for watching. We're going to wait for some people to pull up live because these are heavily contingent on people pulling up live and talking. And real quick, this is available on streaming sites, whether it's Spotify or Apple. The link is down below in the description of this video, or you can type in Let's Talk Football with Jackson Elstro on your streaming site of choice. We have the Falcons versus the Commanders game going on right now. I threw a little bit of money on here, so let me just take a look at what's going on. Not going great, but it's all right. It's all right. The main game of the week is Vikings-Packers, and I just made a Vikings video on this channel, and I always hate doing that. I go into a lot of these Packers games feeling a certain type of way. Who has the better roster, who's the better quarterback, who's the better coach. These NFC North games at the point of the season we're in, aka a couple of games left, I don't know, man. The Packers are already in the playoffs. I don't care about seeding that much. I've never really been a huge seeding guy. No matter who it is, whether we're playing the Packers, for example, or even the Vikings, the winners of today's game, whether you're playing, Philadelphia, I guess makes a difference in some sense. But I'm just a little bit old school in the sense of like, you play who you play and you beat who you beat. I mean, there are plenty of underdog stories. There are plenty of stories like, not even to be a dick to the Chiefs, but the Chiefs last season, I felt like they had a pretty easy race to the AFC Championship, or I should say to the Super Bowl in general. I'm a little bit less big on the Baltimore Ravens than other teams are, but a pretty boring week of football, man. We'll go through the slate here real quick. Let me pull up the NFL schedule. We'll start with Wednesday, Kansas City versus Pittsburgh. I just made a Chiefs video. The Pittsburgh Steelers really are pissing me off. Same thing applies to the Houston Texans. The Texans team is really pissing me off. They have a very real, legitimate chance of going 9-8 and still, handily winning this division. They got a road game against the Tennessee Titans, but Baltimore just won 31-2 a couple of nights ago, or many nights ago on Wednesday night, Christmas night. And then we had a Seahawks-Bears game where the Seahawks put up 6, the Bears put up 3. That was a horrible football game. I have a Chicago Bears channel. You see the hat here, even though I'm a Packers fan. I'm from that area, born and raised in the Chicagoland area, and I just don't even want – I've got a big Seahawks fan base on this channel. I've got, a Bears channel. I don't even really – have much interest in that football game. And then Saturday, we had the Chargers completely blow out the New England Patriots. Wasn't even close at any point in that football game. I think it was all expected. The final, the nightcap, as they kept saying, was the Rams versus the Cardinals. I thought that was also an excruciatingly boring football game. The best game of the week is probably the Bengals-Broncos, which happened yesterday. Really interesting two teams because I feel like the Bengals should not be 8-8 in the sense of there are so many games, like both games against the Ravens. Week 2 against the Chiefs? There are so many games I can go back on the Bengals, specifically their losses, because Saturday against this 9-7 now Broncos was their first win above 500, or first win against the team above 500. And I can go back on so many of these losses and just say, like, and obviously Bengals fans know this and the Bengals know this, and it's just really, rather annoying because I like both the Bengals and the Broncos, and that game was fascinating, almost in an annoying sense. The 1 o'clock slate today was terrible. The Giants won a football game, which is not good if you're a Giants fan. It's good if you're not a Giants fan and your team's not that great. The Jags got to win against the Titans, get them to 4-12, keep the Titans at 3-13. Buffalo demolished the Jets. I'm a little bit bigger on Aaron Rodgers than most people as a Packers fan. The Raiders got an unfortunate win today. Tampa obliterated the smithereens of the Carolina Panthers 48-14. The Philadelphia Eagles with Kenny Pickett 41-7 against the Cowgirls, and then the Dolphins won 20-3. So pretty much all you really had today, unless you're a dedicated fan of any of these teams, was the Green Bay Packers versus the Minnesota Vikings. Folks, we got two guys in here live. Thank you to Bam for commenting, because these shows really feed off people live commenting. But just keep throwing it down there if you're watching this post live. I appreciate you. Got to say here, NFC North has been nothing but a bloody boxing match for the title of the NFC North and the first seed on the line. It's truly been crazy. It's been record breaking. This matchup today against two NFC North teams in Week 18, it was the 11-4 Packers taking on the 13-2 Vikings, and neither of the teams lead the division. Truly insane. But the bloodbath's been crazy. A little disappointed in the Chicago Bears, because they were supposed to make this a lot more entertaining, a lot more interesting. But they haven't caught a win in well over 2 months, man. What was their last win? In London against, what was it, Jacksonville? Crazy to even think the Chicago Bears were 4-2, but this Vikings-Packers game was definitely the game to watch today. Green Bay showed how tough they really are. When they clean up those few mistakes, they really have become a wrecking machine. And as a Packers fan, this stuff drives me crazy. There's so many things that just drive me crazy. I've gotten way too many texts about Jordan Love not being the dude. I've seen way too many tweets about Jordan Love not being the dude. Matt LaFleur, the head coach for the Green Bay Packers, I love him and I also hate him at certain points. I was just ranting to a buddy of mine. I feel like a lot of these coaches didn't play Madden growing up, and you'll see a viral tweet of that, or you'll see somebody say something like that and you'll laugh it off. One good example I have from this week, and I don't know if anybody noticed this because I didn't make a Steelers loss video a couple of days ago on Christmas. It was around this type of thing. So the Pittsburgh Steelers were down 17 points with about 9 or 10 minutes left. There was probably 9 minutes and 20 seconds left in the football game. And the Pittsburgh Steelers had the ball around the Kansas City Chiefs 30-yard line. Chris Boswell, the field goal kicker for the Pittsburgh Steelers, is the best in the business. This dude is a stud. Doesn't matter if it's a 35-yarder, a 45-yarder, or a 55-yarder. Chris Boswell is an absolute stud. And the Pittsburgh Steelers have a 4th and 10 on the Chiefs, let's just say 32-yard line, something like that. They're down 17 points, and they have all 3 timeouts. Mike Tomlin decides to go for it on 4th and 10 after they've scored 10 points in the football game, and Russell Wilson's not connecting to anybody. There's no run game. It's 4th and 10 anyways. Nobody's doing anything offensively. The Steelers sucked in that Chiefs game, offensively speaking. And for some weird reason, Mike Tomlin decides to go for it on 4th and 10 from the Chiefs' 32-yard line. To me, as a Madden player in my childhood, the way I see it is I have all 3 timeouts. So I'm going to kick the field goal here. I'm going to make it a 14-point game, and we're going to get a couple of defensive stops. One of them, because there's 9 minutes freaking left in this game, I don't even need to call any timeouts. So let's just say, Kansas City does their thing. You've got 5-6 minutes left in the ball game, and you have all 3 timeouts, and you're down 2 possessions. Well, Mike Tomlin decides to go for it. And if you watch that game, they had a false start penalty. I think it was false start. I think it was actually on George Pickens. I think there was also another player who got clipped for it. But anyway, George Pickens and somebody else, false start. And so it's now 4th and 15, and the field goal would have been, 50-something yards. But still, the point is, you have the ability with less than 10 minutes left in a football game to make it a 2-possession game. If you don't, on 4th and 10, it's still 3-possession game. So kick the freaking field goal. They don't, and they throw up a Hail Mary, and it's still a 17-point game. And the Kansas City Chiefs on their next drive, the drive next to that, right after the missed field goal, the missed 4th down conversion, they go 3-and-out. And it's Pittsburgh Steelers football, but now there's 6 minutes left in the 17-point game. And so I'm watching. Dan Campbell really pisses me off in this sense as well, or I should say mainly he pissed me off in that 49ers game in the NFC Championship. There was a point in tonight's game, I think it was halfway through the second quarter, it was 7-3 Minnesota, 3 points Green Bay. And it's like 4th and 2 on the Vikings 22, 23-yard line. And like it's, 47-yard field goal, 48-yard field goal, whatever. Brian McManus has been a beast for the Green Bay Packers. You're down 7-3, and Matt LaFleur decides to go for it. And early in the first possession, the reason the Green Bay Packers were up 3-0 is because they had a 4th and goal opportunity, and Matt LaFleur decides to kick the field goal. Some of these coaching decisions that these guys are making, and it's like annoying from my sense because like you're thinking right now, I'm at home in my apartment talking about how these NFL head coaches keep fucking up, but it is true. To me, I don't know if I was Matt LaFleur pisses me off so much as a Packers fan because he's either like the most gigantic pussy on planet Earth or he's got like balls of steel, but neither ever work. Neither work, whether he's a giant dork going for the field goal or he's a big ballsy Dan Campbell type of guy going for it on 4th and 2. They just never work. And there were way too many penalties from the Green Bay Packers today, and so even though Packers were up 3-0 in the first quarter and Minnesota was only up 13-3 after the first half, I still knew the Green Bay Packers were not winning this football game. The Vikings outclassed them. Sam Darnold significantly outplayed Jordan Love. Like I'm a Packers fan, even with a lead. I never felt like the Packers are gonna comfortably win this game. They're gonna win this game. I feel good about it. And we got a chat here. Matt LaFleur isn't Dan Campbell. I know that. I don't know if that's meant to be a diss on Matt LaFleur or whatever it is, but there are a lot of coaching decisions that Matt LaFleur makes where I am just sitting here scratching my head as a Madden player thinking, well, I don't think this makes sense. And I've been on a tweeting spree. If you guys want to follow my Twitter, the link's in the description here. Like all these deep, advanced analytics. Oh, well, Caleb Williams has 3,400 passing yards and 420 rushing yards, and he's thrown 18 touchdowns and 6 or less interceptions. And he's the first quarterback ever in NFL history to do that. And I just see a lot of these advanced statistics, and I was scratching my head wondering, like, why does this even matter to me? And that's on a little bit of a side tangent of Matt LaFleur and the Green Bay Packers tonight, but just, I don't know, it really does drive me crazy. 29-10, they really let Kansas City sleep into a comfy win for that. I do like how Matt LaFleur let it be known it truly fell onto his shoulders, so I respect him for owning that. I definitely agree. You needed, as a Lions fan, you definitely wanted the Green Bay Packers to win this game. Week 18 is going to be awesome, and I was just saying at the beginning of this stream, like as a Packers fan, we're not winning the NFC North, right? Heading into this game, we were already out of contention. It wouldn't have mattered whether we won or lost as far as NFC North seeding goes. But if I was the Detroit Lions and I had to play the Minnesota Vikings in a game like this, the fingers crossed, I'm winning this football game. But it's crazy to have a Week 18 game with two teams who have won. I was hopefully assuming the Lions win this game here. You got like 14 wins for each team. And the final game of the season is for the division. I mean, it's just pretty crazy. And we got a chat. We got a super sticker here from an OG, Slow Town Trev, who threw us the same thing in our last live stream. I appreciate you very much, man. I want the Lions to win. I also don't mind if the Vikings win. I feel very nonchalant about the whole NFC North title race now that we've been officially eliminated a while ago. But rooting for your Lions, but at the same time also rooting for these Vikings. I just like this story. I think both of these two stories are crazy. The Vikings might be the most undercovered 14-2 team in NFL history. But I would assume, and I don't know how the seeding would be at this current point in time, but I would assume the Lions Vikings is going to be a conference championship game. Philly doesn't really concern me, even with a healthy Jalen Hurts. I don't know. That doesn't really concern me. And that might end up being a really bad take, but I don't know. The Eagles don't do it for me. The Packers are really interesting, high reward, high risk type of team. Tampa, if they slide in there, I think could make some noise. Atlanta, I don't think so with Penix anymore. And then, Washington, I don't really, I mean, they're not going to be an easy win. I don't think any team in the playoffs would be an easy win, but I don't know. The Commanders don't really do it for me. The Bucks or the Falcons, and I think the Bucks could make a stab at it. I think Washington can make a stab at it, but having that first round bye, whether it's Minnesota or Detroit, if I had a gun to my head right now, I'd probably go Detroit. Fortunately for my Vikings fans watching this stream, but it's going to be a great game. I'll leave this super sticker up. This goes to show next year it's going to be so intense for the NFC North. But as a Vikings fan, I'm sorry I got to enjoy the dub and look forward to the super battle against the Detroit Lions. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. Brandon from the Detroit area, Week 18 is going to be insane. Hell yeah. Eagles are a problem. I know on paper the Eagles are a problem. And I know it's a completely different team than they were at this time last year where they had to take on Tampa in that in that wild card round. I don't know, man. Even though they beat the Packers, I kind of view them similarly as Baltimore. If Patrick Mahomes didn't exist, would Baltimore be in the Super Bowl? 100%. Would they have probably won a Super Bowl by now? Probably. But I don't know. This is a big year for Philly in the playoffs here because they are not the Bengals, but I don't even think that reference even makes any sense. But I don't know, man. I think if anything, the Rams at the NFC would be a little bit more scary for Philly like me. But the Rams could go into a team like Philadelphia and win it. But I don't even want to get into like seeding and hypotheticals because there's a lot of football left to be played here. I'll even pull up this Week 18 slate while we're at it. On CBS Sports, it says all of these games are TBA. Philadelphia plays the Giants at home. I don't want my Apple Wallet. We're all set on that. Seattle versus the Rams. Interesting game there. Packers at home against the Chicago Bears. Detroit's got the home field advantage for Week 18 as well. And I do think that will make a pretty big difference. That's why home field's going to be important. All right. In fact, it's two NFC North teams fighting for the number one seed. This year is pretty sweet, man. Take out Super Bowl and force Jalen Hurts. Oh, sorry. Take out Saquon Barkley and force Jalen Hurts to one side and watch them get crippled. Andy Reid did that last Super Bowl against them. It's what stomped their offense in the second half. And, like Brandon says right here, I feel better about the Los Angeles Rams, even though they're like not even scoring offensive points really recently. I feel a little bit more comfortable, even if they're on the road in a divisional game against the Philadelphia Eagles. Obviously, that wouldn't be a matchup until the second round. Let me pull up these playoffs here. We got a crazy donation here from Shonuff. Bam. I appreciate you. We got two donations. I wish I could show both of you. I appreciate you guys so much, man. That's crazy. I appreciate you watching these live streams. I appreciate you watching these videos, taking time out of your days and showing some love to the channel, whether it's a view or a donation, man. Thank you very much to both of you. It's crazy. It really is crazy. All right. In the meantime, hold on. Let me look up the NFL playoff bracket, and we can just kind of riff off of that because it was a poor NFL week. All right. Let's see what we got here. Fox Sports. Not really what I'm looking for at all. Once again, guys, this is available on streaming sites. We're trying to push it. This isn't it. This is last year's. This is an updated from Joe Tansey with Bleacher Report. Minnesota's the number 1 seed right now. Oh, because Detroit hasn't played? Hold on, let me show this to you guys. Is this real? So on the screen here, we have a Bleacher Report article from Joe Tansey today. And the AFC side looks correct. And I didn't know that the Minnesota Vikings, I assume, once again, the Minnesota Vikings are the number 1 team in the NFC at this current point in time because the Detroit Lions have not played football yet. Yeah, that is true. The Minnesota Vikings are the number 1 seed right now as it stands. So I definitely don't want a Detroit loss. And now unless you're a Vikings fan. If Detroit loses tomorrow, isn't it still for the number 1 seed? I believe so. Yeah. There's so many playoff tiebreakers, it gets confusing. We could go through it right now if anybody wants, but I was looking at it recently and it was like awfully confusing. But if Seattle wins in who do the Rams play? If Seattle wins in week 18, wouldn't they advance? Why am I wondering who the Rams are playing? It's obviously the Seattle Seahawks. Okay. As it stands on the screen right now, Detroit versus Tampa Bay in Tampa Bay. I live in the Tampa Bay area right now, and I will just say, first off, if Atlanta wins in an hour, then that would be Atlanta, and I would feel very differently. I don't care if it's the Lions, the Packers, the Vikings, the Eagles, the Rams. I don't care who it is. I don't think Tampa's really a team anybody wants to play with. Their offense, their defense would be not the best. All right, so we're looking at the chat here. Yeah, the Lions play tomorrow, so it's all right. Shannon says if the Lions were smart, they'd rest their starters. Is that how it would be? Like if the Lions lose tomorrow's game, then it's perfectly fine, and they're both no, because they'd be 13-3. Oh, but they would play Minnesota in week 18. See, this is what I mean, man. Detroit's still number 1 unless we lose to San Fran or week 18. All right. But they still can lose to San Francisco and take down Minnesota. And yeah, like Brandon's saying here, San Fran, I don't think it's looking great for them. But still, man, they got a lot of offense playmakers. The Packers demolished them like 42-10 or something like that about a month ago. And even though Brock Purdy didn't play in that game, Bosa didn't play in that game, I don't think Trent Williams played in that game. Did Kittle even play in that? I don't even think Kittle played in that game. The 49ers were missing like every single soul on that roster. But I still, as a Packers fan, didn't really want to play on the road. I think it was at home against I just don't want to play San Francisco in general. Kind of how I feel about Seattle. I'd like to just not play the Seattle Seahawks, especially in Seattle. If they lose, then even if they beat Minnesota, we would remain the 1st seed. All right. So please, Lions win. I want a legit 1st seed battle with my Vikes. 2-14-2 in week 18, battling it out for the number 1 spot is just that's awesome. And this somebody said, I don't know if it was shown off or somebody said it like this. NFC North, this season's been a movie because the NFC North, unless you're really an NFC North guy, like I'm an NFC North guy. This year really sucks. In the sense of I'm trying to pull it up or trying to just kind of eavesdrop on it. Like growing up to me, like a week 18 game is like Pittsburgh at Cincinnati, winner gets in. You got the Baltimore Ravens on the road against Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns in week 17, and it's to get into the playoffs. I don't know if we have one of those this upcoming week, except what would it be? Rams, Seahawks? I'm not in tune as much with the AFC, but I would believe if the Broncos tie or win, they're in. And we've already heard the Chiefs are sitting their starters, as they should. Still kind of feel like the Chiefs are a good team with Carson Wentz in the second string, neither here nor there. But then it's not as simple because the Dolphins won and the Bengals just beat the Broncos. Who did the Dolphins play next week? The Jets. Hey, what are the chances the Dolphins make the playoffs? Let's see here. 19%. So the chances the Miami Dolphins make the playoffs at this point in time is 19%. Denver's 72.5. Cincinnati's 8.4. It's a really young team with a rookie quarterback. I wouldn't even if it's a second string or it is a second string Carson Wentz and the Kansas City Chiefs, I still don't even necessarily feel like that's a pen in or a shoe in. I'd pencil it in, but looks like that AFC is pretty much figured out. Now, Pittsburgh has Cincinnati, and they could lose that, but they're at home. And the Chargers have the Raiders. I mean, the Chargers could be the 5th seed taking on Houston. I mean, there's just so much going on here. I'd almost even like that. Sorry, I'm just looking at my phone. It looks like if the Chargers win next week and the Steelers lose against the Bengals, Chargers would be on the road against the Houston Texans, and Pittsburgh would be on the road against Baltimore. I don't even think that's like that worse of a thing for the Steelers. That would mean they've lost 4 straight games. All right. Let's take a look at this chat here. Oh, no, we got a Steelers fan. It's pretty easy to beat us where ass right now. The Steelers have certainly looked better. What is the – oh, okay. The Seahawks percent to win the division and make the playoffs is 24. And the Rams is 76. Rightfully so. Even though Atlanta's currently playing football, I should turn that on right now on my TV. Oh, Atlanta's up. Michael Penix touchdown. No, still. Damn, I put a little bit of cash on that. That would really suck. Throw a touchdown. Tomlin has choked at the end of the season for 8 straight years, including this year. I think it's time for them to move on, like Reed and the Eagles, or even like my Packers with Mike McCarthy. I ranted earlier on in this stream about how Mike Tomlin and the Steelers pissed me off going for it on 4th and 10 in easy field goal range. No field goal is easy, but in field goal range, they decide to go for it on 4th and 10 instead of making it a 2-possession game. That will never really make much sense to me. Most seasons, if you have only 2 losses, you're almost guaranteed the number 1 seed. 100%. What's up? Go Pack, go all day. Tough game. Can the Packers keep the 6th seed? I don't have any concerns going into, or it's actually in Lambeau Field. I don't have any concerns playing the Chicago Bears in Week 18. I mean, the Bears are going to play them hard. I feel like every loss from the Bears have lost 10 games. I feel like all of these recently have been in one score, not even close. They lost by 17 to Detroit, 18 to Minnesota, 25 to San Francisco. Time goes really fast. I guess the stretch was, I don't know, man. I feel like they just play, and even that 34-17 win against Detroit, I feel like the Bears just play teams very hard, especially in the NFC North. But the Bears losing like 11 straight games to finish off the season seems a little, I don't know, it seems a little crazy to me. But then, I mean, technically, Washington's down 17-7 at halftime. Remote's all the way over there, but it's halftime. Washington's down 17-7. And it's crazy, too, because if Atlanta wins the next 2 games, and Dallas got wrecked by Philadelphia today, but Dallas also wrecked Tampa Bay 1 week ago. Literally 1 week ago today, they wrecked. And if Tampa had won that game, they would have been in the playoffs, or they would have been comfortably in the playoffs. So I don't even think the Commanders win in the next 2, especially if they lose today. I don't think on the road against Cooper Rush, I don't care that it's the Cowgirls and they're missing CD and all these studs. Like, I don't think anything's really a shoo-in anymore. I mean, the Giants just threw up 45. What the hell was this? I had Malik Neighbors on my fantasy team. Where the hell was this 1 week ago? Hit that like button. Thank you, Trev. But yeah, hit that like button. I appreciate it. I think our high is like 39 on these streams. So hit that like button. Appreciate it. What pieces would the Steelers be missing besides quarterback? I really strongly think they're missing a wide receiver too. And It doesn't have to be T. Higgins. It doesn't have to be Brandon Ayuk. It doesn't have to be some of these superstar studs. But, Pittsburgh without George Pickens, man, I don't think there was much to be happy about. They love to get away from the run too, especially if you're playing from behind. You have to get away from the run to a certain extent. Yeah, I don't know, man. I've kind of been I've kind of always held this opinion on the Steelers, whether they were what were they? They're 10-7 now? No. What would they be? 10-6? Isn't Pittsburgh 10-6? Pittsburgh's 10-6 now. They've lost 3 straight games. So whether it's 10-6 or 10-3, I don't really care. I don't think Justin Fields is the answer in any way, shape, or form. I also know Russell Wilson, if he's the quarterback next year, I know that's not a long-term thing. I would draft a quarterback at some point early-ish on. But this isn't the best quarterback draft class. Did you just wait another year? It's probably what they would do. Do you re-sign both Russ and Justin? No matter who the quarterback is, Justin Fields or Russell Wilson, I think it should definitely be Russ. I would look towards the future, and I would figure out this wide receiver position, because even I watch George Pickens play, and this guy drives me crazy. George Pickens drives me crazy. I think so much. I think the football got so much. I don't have a George Pickens on my roster on Green Bay as far as drama goes. I'm not talking talent, but George Pickens, man, some of this stuff is a lot of this stuff is similar to Jameson Williams, where it's that's not a flag, dude. Relax, refs. Relax. But some of this effort and energy, I don't like it. Deontay Johnson was the same last year, and then they shipped them off in the offseason. I don't think George Pickens is not going to be a Steeler this time next year, but I don't know, man. Diva wide receivers really piss me off. It's just always a wide receiver, or I guess a cornerback sometimes. I don't know. Pittsburgh, I would start thinking towards the future, but at the same time, you pay so much money for your defense, and you pay so much money for a lot of these guys. The offensive line long-term is set. Right, you just drafted 3 studs, it appears, in the draft. I'd start looking towards the future here. Is Najee even going to be a Steeler this time next year? Steelers are in an uncomfortable situation that can be diverted if they decide to go in a certain path. They might have to suck for a year. But that would probably mean the end of Mike Tomlin. But like somebody said in this chat here, maybe that's a good thing. Bears haven't won in the conference. I don't think they've won a single conference game. I think they've been close in pretty much all except that last one against the Lions. Yeah, they're 0-5 in divisional play. It's been a tough year to be a Bears fan. If the Falcons beat the Commies, then the Packers keep the 6th seed. Yep. Yeah. Long-term and short-term, that would solidify it. Or I guess with a win. The tiebreakers are confusing. We should just Google it because there's a lot of them. And it's not like Madden back in the day where I thought it was just divisional records. There's just a lot of stuff in it. Thank you. Go Pack, go all day. Detroit should be getting some linebackers off IR going to Vikings game. Anzalone making his return. What's up, Daniel? We got Chiefs fan in here. What's good? Just made my first Chiefs video since week 1 of the season today. I desperately want an 0-4 team Super Bowl. Bills versus Vikes. That'd be cool. Hell yeah. Fuck yeah. I don't want to see Kansas City pull a 3-peat. Not trying to hate. Just don't want to see another past dynasty activate. Yeah, as a NFC guy, I tweeted, or I think I responded to a comment saying this. As an NFC guy, the Chiefs dynasty hasn't really affected me. It would have pissed me off last year if Detroit took down San Francisco in the conference championship, but I have literally nothing for the San Francisco 49ers, as you guys know, and I also don't really have much for the Philadelphia Eagles. So I enjoy watching good football. But yeah, the San Francisco 49ers are out of it this year, so I also would prefer, sorry to the Chiefs fan, Daniel, that just pulled in here, I would prefer not a 3-peat. Calvin Austin's really good. I think he has good potential wide receiver too, but honestly, at this point, I think we should trade George Pickens, the what we can get for him, tried to trade for Garrett Wilson or Olave in replacement. Let Russ walk. There we go. Let Najee walk. Complete reset coaching staff, re-sign Fields, draft Joe Milroe, build up O-line. Maybe even try and trade up and get Gentry. Warren Field, Gentry would be crazy. I love how he threw in Justin Fields as the runner. And that's my whole issue with Justin Fields. Not to be a dick to the Steelers nation as I'm wearing a Bears hat. I watched Justin Fields play, and I am uninspired. Packers were able to stop the run, but the corner position was bad. They need to get Jair Alexander back. And I was assuming they're just kind of at this point resting him in the sense of not trying to rush him back. Jair is heavily paid, though. Packers were finally doing damage by smoking Gilmore. I love the vet, but the man should do a few less snaps. It's crazy that let me throw these back up. That oh shoot. Oh crap. Oh, here we go. Packers were able to get man should do some less snaps. It was crazy considering like Kyrie Jackson. It's just kind of crazy considering the Vikings cornerback room heading into this year. That was like the clear, obvious flaw. Like, oh, all these, I hate even saying this, but like a death, an injured, what was it, ACL for the entire season. Like they got shafted right away from injuries, and obviously JJ McCarthy too, but they got shafted defensive back wise. And it's been pretty remarkable what they've been able to do, even though that could be their defensive flaw. Pretty crazy what they've been able to do. Campbell's holding it down for Anzalone. I would want to suck for a year rather than this mediocre 9-10 purgatory that we're in. I agree with you. Reeves Mayman should be back. There you go. Melifonwu just made his return last week. If Kansas City gets to the Super Bowl, it'll be the absolute sign. Even if it's just the AFC Championship, it'll be a warning bell to the rest of the league. What Super Bowl matchup would you like? My prediction is still Chiefs-Lions. That's still my prediction. As all the Lions' defensive injuries specifically have come up, I am starting to feel a weird, not rigged, not NFL is rigged type of thing, but I am starting to feel weird, like kind of feels like Philly, Kansas City could be the Super Bowl matchup. As far as what do I want to see, though, I'd like to see any of my Packers, Detroit, Minnesota in this Super Bowl versus any team not named Kansas City, ideally. Sorry, once again, to Daniel. I'd like Pitt. I'd like the Chargers. I'd like Denver. I wouldn't mind Buffalo at all. I like Buffalo. I like Josh Allen, former golf ball. I used to follow my golf business on Instagram, big golf guy. The only two teams I don't really care for too much are Kansas City. Baltimore would be cool. I just don't really believe or trust it. Packers, Bills would be cool. Lions, Bills, I think, is what a lot of people are looking for at this point in the NFL season. Assuming you're not a Chiefs fan. But any NFC North team versus any team not named Kansas City would be pretty cool. Be cool if we got solidified proof that they beat Kansas City, but somebody's got to take Kansas City down, man. Last year was the year. I think it's obvious at this point. Last year was definitely the year to take down Kansas City, and Baltimore does this thing every year. And I've got family in Baltimore, and I love the city of Baltimore. I think it's really cool. I like going to Maryland a lot. I think it's a really cool town. I've taken the train into the city. I think the city is interesting. I was a little bit young. I think I was like a sophomore in high school, but I don't know. I got a lot of family from that area, and every year we do the same thing, and the same thing we do with the Buffalo Bills, where it's like this feels like the year. It's just like they've got MVP Lamar, they've got MVP Derrick Henry, but when I look at the Baltimore Ravens, I just feel like they collapse when it matters, and I just feel like that's keeping it a buck. My name is Jackson, United States of America. Pretty crazy story. I don't even think too much of it anymore. I made this channel Will Upton when I was a freshman in high school, because I was a freshman in high school and I didn't want people to know my name. I was making really, really shitty YouTube videos, and I just kind of kept it all the way. I think I changed it actually to Jackson Elstro one time last year, and I immediately regretted that. I'd prefer to be a little bit more low key. Packers, Bills, we just saw that. Vikings, Bills. A lot of people seem to really want Vikings, Bills. I also think that would be very cool. Jay hasn't been showing his old self this year. I think he really grew as a leader. And after losing Diggs, he stepped up heavily. Josh Allen's a stud. I don't. I felt the same way with the Denver Nuggets when Nikola Jokic a couple of years ago when they won the championship. I used to make NBA pure only NBA videos, and I did an NBA show with my buddy Ciro and a couple other guys eventually down the road. And we would do this every day, Monday through Friday at like 9 a.m. No one would ever really watch. We had a couple of people who would watch, and I love them forever. But we'd always talk NBA. And that whole season, I remember like not really believing Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets would win it all. And then they won it all. And it was obvious. In retrospect, it was clear as day. They were the best team. Nikola Jokic was the best player in the NBA, and they did their thing, and they won the NBA Finals quite handily. And so I think about that a lot when I'm talking about Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills and Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens is if Patrick Mahomes, Kansas City Chiefs didn't exist. I mean, yeah, I would, like Brandon just said, I mean, he's Josh Allen's scary. He's a scary ass dude. The dude's a stud. Lamar's a stud. These dudes are studs. But unfortunately, Kansas City Chiefs exist. And I watched this team, and like I just made a Chiefs video, like I said, in the first time in like since week 1 against Baltimore. And I just watch these Chiefs games, and I'm just thinking, like, I previously before this stretch, I was thinking they were just getting lucked out by refs. I don't think they have the best roster in the NFL. Like, I just feel like somebody's going to come into Kansas City and beat them. Not necessarily saying Arrowhead, but somebody's going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, and the hype's going to die down. And, you know, it'll be a Josh Allen year or a Lamar year, or, you know, at that point in time, CJ Stroud, whatever. And I don't know. They just keep finding ways to win, and they're just such a battle-tested team. They're just like Sean was saying. They're just Mahomes' different breed. They're just different breeds. And I agree with the refs. And I think in our stream a couple of episodes ago, I was saying the same thing with these refs. And then I just like watch this team play football, and I'm like, I don't know. Is this really going to stop before the Super Bowl? Is it really going to end this year? Like, you know. Josh Allen, sadly, and this is a true fact, Mahomes is a different breed. Now, aside from the refs, the man showcased his talent. I watched the Lions-Bills game like I couldn't believe my eyes. I don't know why they don't have Jared Goff and MVP talk, but I'm biased. I agree. I think MVPs is all just glitter and glam. I'll hold more strong opinions because in the NBA, because I covered that like every day for many years, and they would hand out an MVP trophy, and it's just like, I think maybe this was Giannis's year. Maybe this Jokic should have been the three-peat or you know, stuff like that. The 5-interception game, as you're saying here, I guess definitely goes into it. Who's even probably leading the NFL MVP race? I believe it would be Lamar Jackson, but I think, oh no, it started Josh Allen. That's right. This is from 10 days ago. Let's click out of that. Teron Davenport with ESPN had him. All right, here we go. Oh, Sean, I don't need to hear Sean McDermott weigh in on the MVP race. Seems like it's Lamar or Josh Allen. Saquon's great. They don't really like to give running backs the MVP award. This is from 14 hours ago. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson MVP race much tighter than once thought. Lamar Jackson's entered the chat. Oh, I guess the clear-cut favorite was Josh Allen. And the Bills are a really interesting team. They always do this. They're 13-3. They lost to the Rams by 2, back when the Rams could score points. Their others lost were week 4 and week 5 against back-to-back against the Ravens and the Texans on the road. I just think a team's going to big ball them. A team like the Ravens is going to big ball them. Unfortunately. Lions-Bills game was really epic to watch. That 5-interception game was epic as well. Why do my titles sound very similar to Matty Dubs? Matty Dubs is killing it. And I think all YouTubers kind of riff off of each other. I get a lot of comments about my titles being too clickbaity and stuff, and I agree in certain instances, but at the same time, you got bills to pay, man. But Matty Dub's killing it. Love my boy Matty Dubs, but we're gonna figure it out, man. I started doing these like if you guys have seen it, like the last couple of days, I started doing these like face videos. I'll like put myself down here, show a couple of clips and do it. And I don't know, man. People like it, but then they don't do as well. And it just sucks. I hate like the whole YouTube thing. I just would love to be like a more established, credible person. The guy I always like is Colin Coward, because this is just like he'll do exactly this is why we're doing this rapid reaction. It's Sunday night. I love doing this. And he'll just post like a stream of himself and his face and get like 250K. And it's like, obviously I'm 25 and Colin Coward's been around the block in a non-sexual way, obviously, but I don't know. I like putting my face in these videos and kind of breaking down film and that kind of stuff, but I don't know. We're just kind of doing it. Stop copying titles. There we go. So we got a couple of dudes in here. A lot of people don't. My boy Swaggy, I wish Swaggy was pulled up in here. Swaggy first started making NFL content, and he's my boy, so I started making NFL content with him, and we were kind of riffing off each other, and then all these people just pulled up out of nowhere. Now the competition's tough. We were ranting about AI in the last stream, and really weird. But I don't know. I'd like to get to a point where I cannot throw up an annoying title, but at the same time, I'm not going to make a video that I don't fully believe in. You know, I haven't made a Ravens video. I don't even know if I've made a Ravens video this year. I think I made like two Eagles video. I don't make videos that I'm not like passionate about. So I'm sorry the titles are annoying and stuff, and editing's annoying too, because I'm not the NFL. I can't show a whole game. I can't show highlights. I can show like a little bit. NFC's more wide open than most people think. I totally agree. Here. Some funny titles. I definitely need to get back into a little bit more of the creative sphere. That's why I got a lot of team channels as well. I just like the NFL. I like these teams. And thank you, Brandon. Appreciate that. Fellas, and maybe a lady or two. It is quite late here. It's 10 o'clock here in Tampa Bay, Florida. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I appreciate it. We're going to be doing these a lot more. I think we did 3 last week. I've had this show, Let's Talk Football, the podcast form, for like a year now. I think the first one was after the Lions lost to San Francisco last season in the conference championship. So trying to do these a lot more. I appreciate it. I do have an NBA channel. I technically have 3 NBA channels. I got a Warriors channel and a Lakers channel. I don't really post on it anymore because, once again, like if I'm not feeling it, feels a little too clickbaity, feels a little desperate. I don't like to do it. But I've got a Rockets channel called Houston Rockets Daily that I also do a show called Let's Talk Rockets, and we've done almost 100 of those. So check that out if you're interested in the Rockets. But maybe one day on this channel, I'll get back to the NBA. Sorry. Thank you for watching, though. Hit the like button, as always. It's available on streaming sites. Once again, really trying to push the streaming aspect of this to try and grow a bigger brand. But that is it for today. I'll post that probably in the next hour or two. I hope you guys enjoy tonight's Sunday Night Football game. I'm probably going to not, because I'll watch it tomorrow, and I got some money on it. I hate betting. I don't advise betting at all, but I did it, and it stresses me the fuck out, and I'll watch it tomorrow. So we'll see in a day or two. Keep in mind, guys, if you watch one of these videos, my face is probably going to be in it. Show your opinion down below in the comment section, good or bad. I appreciate all of it. So thank you for watching. We'll see you guys in a couple of days. That is